been a big day of bank earnings, and we've seen some common themes across the numbers that have been reported so far. While we're awaiting the ICICI Bank numbers coming in any time now, Kotak Mahindra Bank's numbers were slightly above estimates, while Yes Bank's bottom line came in below what the street had factored in. Both Kotak and Yes Bank saw some pressure on margins, but asset quality improved for both of the lenders. RBL Bank also had a strong quarter, a 46% growth in profits over the previous year, and IDBI Bank reported a near 60% rise in profits, 12% increase in net interest income and improvement in the asset quality, with gross NPAs coming in at 4.9%, net NPAs at 0.39%. So let's start with the big one, Kotak Mahindra Bank, which has just reported its numbers, and of course now the new CEO use. Abhishek Kothari is joining us from the Mumbai studio to take us through the fine print of those numbers. Abhishek.
Well, Ritu, as you mentioned, Kotak Mahindra Bank has reported a strong set of numbers. The earnings are ahead of our poll on account of the robust business growth that they have seen. I'll come to that, but take a look. Between Q1 of FY21 to Q3 of FY23, the deposit growth of Kotak Mahindra Bank was anywhere between 6.6% to 13% on a year-on-year basis. Hence, now when the deposit growth is robust, it is coming in at a price, and that's eating into their net interest margin. So what has actually worked in the results is that the deposit growth is robust at 23.3% YoY, one of the best that you are seeing in last 20 quarters on a YoY basis, and sequentially the deposit growth is at 3.8% quarter-on-quarter, but it's coming in at a price given the fact that CASA ratio is declining, the low-cost deposit ratio is declining, and the term deposit or other high-cost deposits are actually making up for it, which are coming in at a price in a rising interest rate scenario. Loan growth is pretty healthy at 18.5% YoY, one of the best growth that you are seeing in last 3 quarters, and sequentially, that is quarter-on-quarter, the loan growth is at 6%, which is one of the best in last 6 quarters. Now, asset quality that continues to improve, one of the best in last 8 years or 33 quarters or even more. Gross NPA ratio is now down to 1.72% when compared to 1.77% in the previous quarter. Net NPA ratio has also improved to about 0.37% when compared to 0.4% in the previous quarter. Now, the other part which is good is that the consolidated balance sheet actually is very good, because consolidated ROA or return on asset, that's improved to 2.68% when compared to 2.61% in the same quarter last year and 2.63% in the previous quarter. The quarterly profit of the subsidiaries, that's the highest ever that you are seeing at 1,232 crore. Now, what has not worked is that the net interest margin compression is higher than analyst estimate. Analysts were penciling in a 15 basis point decline in net interest margin, but the decline is 35 basis point. It's higher than analyst estimate. Now, slippages increased quarter-on-quarter. Annualized slippage ratio of 1.51% is perhaps the highest that you are seeing in last 5 quarters. CASA ratio, as I mentioned, people are switching to term deposit, so the CASA ratio is declining, and operating profit, that's declined by 6.9% quarter-on-quarter. Perhaps the first time that you are seeing operating profit decline in last 5 quarters. In terms of numbers, both the NI and PAT is ahead of our poll. Back to you.
Abhishek, thanks very much for taking us through that fine print. Joining us now on the show are market expert Prakash Diwan and Rahul Malani of Sharekhan to take us through the numbers. But before that, Prakash, if I could start with you on the new CEO appointment. It is not an internal member; it is an external member in the form of Ashok Vaswani. What do you make of? Okay, we have Rahul Malani with us, and we're awaiting Prakash still to join us. Rahul, what did you make of the new Kotak Mahindra Bank CEO announcement?
So basically, the market expectation was that it could be an internal candidate, but as you alluded right now, as per the press release, an external candidate has been appointed by the bank. So basically, now the expectations come as that what are all the growth and aspirational guidance from the new MD and CEO would be. The market would look at the new growth guidance from the new MD and CEO. And what all, whether there would be any changes in the organizational structure or not.
Okay, Rahul, stay on with us. The Kotak Mahindra Bank management is actually addressing the media on their second quarter earnings right now, so we'll listen into that.
It was a post-tax profit, whereas BSS, the business correspondent, which is into microfinance, got 108 crores of post-tax profit for this quarter. The domestic mutual fund entities clocked 124 crores of post-tax profit in this period. Our assets under management group wide just short of 5 lakh crores with a growth of 28% on a year-on-year basis. The big growth for this year and this quarter has been on the offshore funds. This quarter, again, we got $1 billion plus raised in the offshore fund itself. And we now have the mid-cap fund, which is the largest India-dedicated active fund in the market. Kotak Securities continuing to improve its market share. From 5% a year ago, it is now at 8.8%, with cash market share at 10%. In the subsidiary lending activities, Kotak Prime grew the vehicle business at 31% on a YoY basis, whereas Kotak Investments grew the asset book by 50% plus during the year. And the capital adequacy at the group level, again, very comfortable at 22.9 overall and 21.9 at CET levels, CET1. The overall net worth of the group at 1,20,000 crores, about 90,000 of this sitting in the bank. The ROA for the overall group at 2.68 for this quarter. And we would close with this quarterly profits included. The book value per share would be at 605 rupees per share. So those were the broad highlights of what we did in this quarter. I'll give it back to Rohit.
Jaimin, congratulations for a wonderful result. Congratulations to Jaimin and Deepak also. Deepak, now I request you to make the major announcement, please.
Okay, thanks, Rohit and Jaimin. Well, with a 24% increase in profit after tax on a consolidated levels, you will note that the financials look balanced and comfortable across all parameters. And growth is pretty well rounded across most customer segments. Friends, we just released an announcement regarding receipt of the RBI approval for our recommendation of Ashok Vaswani as the next Managing Director and CEO of the bank. That's big news for us. Ashok is a veteran banker with a proven track record, initially at Citigroup and then more recently at Barclays. He brings with him significant experience in building both consumer and corporate businesses, particularly with a digital drive. And Ashok, if you see, until recently, Ashok was the CEO of Barclays PLC at UK, and he was global head of consumer banking and payments at Barclays PLC. Prior to that, Ashok was the CEO of Citigroup Asia Pacific, and he's been a member of a lot of Citigroup global operating and management committees, really. Ashok is president Pagaya currently. Pagaya is a technology company which he joined just about a year back out of the US, basically focused on AI technologies for retail credit. Ashok is on the board of the London Stock Exchange Group and the SP Jain Institute of Global Management out of UK. And Ashok supports various philanthropic organizations, including Pratham and Lend a Hand. From our point of view, friends, Ashok is basically Ghar Vapsi. It sort of fits into our overall broad theme, which we've basically been running for about a year and a half now, of getting global talent back to India and running our companies. And from our side, all the best to Ashok. Thank you, and over to you, Rohit, again.
Thank you, Deepak and Jaimin, for a wonderful walkthrough from the various announcements today. I request media to raise hands, and we will go one by one. So who's the first one? Shubhana Sheikh, please unmute yourself and ask your two questions.
Hi, sir. This is Subhana Sheikh from Informist Media. I wanted to ask, your slippages have increased. Could you help us, what particular segment saw the rise in slippages? And my second question would be on the SMA2 side. That has also risen. If you could throw some color on that.
If you look at slippages, we were at 1,200 crores in the previous quarter, which has gone to 1,300 crores. So it's not a decently large amount there. But yes, we are watchful on certain segments, particularly on the unsecured retail side. But broadly, if you look at it, the overall growth on slippages for the quarter is just about 100 crores on a base of 1,200. So that again is not a large number. SMA2 actually for the quarter has fallen. We are now at 155 crores. A quarter ago, we were at 203 crores.
Thank you,
So
Shubhana.
apart from retail, any other segment that contributed to the rise in slippages?
Not really. As I said, the total absolute rise on a larger book, which has grown 6% during the quarter, we've grown from 1,200 to 1,300. So that's not such a big increase.
Thank you.
Sir.
We'll come back to you. Ankur, you can ask your question, please.
Hello, everyone. My question is regarding the appointment. First of all, congratulations for getting an approval from Reserve Bank of India. I wanted to know what happens to the chairman post. Has there been any approval which you have sought for chairman post as well from Reserve Bank of India? What is the status there?
Yeah, Jeremy, you want to answer that?
Yeah, fine. We have made our application to the RBI for the chairman. The current chairman's term expires at the end of this calendar year. So we would wait for the RBI to approve the post of the chairman.
Second question I would want to ask regarding your unsecured portfolio, where the growth has been robust. I can see even in the credit card segment, the growth is over 50%. Is there any extended provisioning which you are thinking? What is your thinking there? You want to continue growing like this?
Again, if you look at it, we have grown when I talk about unsecured retail, I'm including credit cards, personal loans, the unsecured at the retail level, the retail microfinance. So all of that put together as a pot, we will today be at about 11% of our overall advances, which a quarter ago was 10.7. And yes, we've talked about the fact that we are comfortable growing this and taking it to about early to mid-teens. So we are on track there, and we are quite okay with that. As regards provisioning, if I look at my overall unsecured book, the provisioning there is in excess of 85%. So we're pretty much covered there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ankur. Ira, you could ask your question, please.
Good afternoon. Just, a question on the appointment. Many large banks have opted for insiders. It obviously, helps smooth out the transition process. It probably helps keep attrition at a senior management level in check. Now, with an outsider coming in, would investors sort of be nervous? Are you nervous about larger attrition levels, particularly at the mid to senior management level?
I guess the issue is not really about attrition. The issue really is about getting global talent, which is driven by technology, driven by customer experience, given by changes which are happening in the banking environment globally, and ensuring that in India we run around similar themes. And if you see, I use the word ghar wapsi. All of these are Indians who made a mark and made a difference on the global arena, both on the consumer side and the non-consumer side. And we are very confident that they will, over a period of time, make that difference even out of our country.
Mr. Manian and Ms. Ekambram's post, do they continue as it is right now? Is there any change in their roles?
No, there is no change at this point of time, really. No. They continue to be on the board and they continue in their roles.
Thank you, Ira. We'll come back to you. Gopika, you can ask your questions, please. Gopika, you there? I think Gopika is facing some technical difficulties. Ajay Ramanathan, you can continue.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, please. You are. Yes.
Sir. So I just had one question. The other income has fallen on a sequential basis, due to which bottom line is also lower. So what has led to this?
Ajay, you're not very clear. If you can just repeat your question, please.
Yeah. So basically, my question is that the other income has fallen sequentially, and due to this, I see that on a standalone basis, the bottom line is also lower sequentially. So what has led to the fall in other income? I see that in the column in fees, apart from fees and services, there is a sharp fall in the others.
Yeah, Jaimin, you want to take that?
I'll explain that.
Yes.
So, Ajay, if you look at it, I talked about it. One is in Q1, the bank standalone gets dividends from its subsidiaries. So that contributed in excess of 300 crores in Q1. That is zero in the current quarter. So if you actually look at the tables for the last quarter, after giving all the details about the individual company, we would have a dividend adjustment towards the bottom.
Well, that was the Kotak Mahindra Bank management addressing the media. But